Welcome back to the warm up. This is a show where we always keeping it warm, always keeping it light. I'm your host, Jake Palmer. And sorry I didn't post the pod on Saturday, bro. I've been sick this week. So I came in here. Might even play the clip. No, that'd be gross. But I came in here, I was recording it, and dude, I was stuffed in my nose, like out of my mind. It was crazy. So I couldn't even talk. I was sniffling. I was like, this isn't gonna be enjoyable. So apologies if I'm sniffing a little bit here and there. Can't really breathe out of my nose. But I'm here, bro. I'm here on a Monday. December 9th, I'm here, bro. It's very good. Every single team has now played more than 20 games. So you know what that means. It's a quarter season review week. So 82 games in a season, roughly around 20 every 20 games. I want to do kind of an update on where I'm at and my predictions and how the league's doing, players are doing, teams are doing, stuff like that. Give a little update. We got one here for you guys today. We got 5 different top 5s. I want to upload these throughout the week and have it be an event. It's gonna be a fun event, so something to look forward to every 4 times a year, I guess. 4 times a year is gonna be fire. So, and then probably one at the end of the season. We'll see how that goes. I didn't do that last year, but I'm gonna do it this year. So, we got top 5 players, we got top 5 teams, we got top 5 rookies, I believe, top 5 takes, and top 5 surprises. So that's basically what I've got for today on the Slate podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, give me a like. If you're listening on the newly figured out Apple Podcasts or on Spotify, give me a review because I figured out how to do that. Got the pod back up with chilling, bro. So it's a good time to be here. Good time to be a basketball fan. There's some good basketball lately. It's been some good stuff. So I'm just gonna start off hot with the top 5 players so far. Now, is this in terms of like MVP ranking? Yes. Is the top 5 teams based off who I think is gonna win the championship? Maybe. So these are like what they say. It's top 5 players, top 5 teams, and it's kind of just like it does give some insight towards the rest of the season, but at the same time, it's like it's only been 20 games. But in those 20 games, we got to give credit where credit's due. So take it with a grain of salt. We're gonna be doing this, 3 more times the rest of the season. So things are gonna change. I'm just here to update and tell you what's going on in my world as a basketball fan. So number 5 best player in the league at the moment, past 20 games. Remember, I think last year I referenced it as like little tiny liver. That's what I did. I just did this. If you're on the podcast, in a little tiny line out of thin air. So out of the last 20 games, this little section of the NBA season, Donovan Spida Mitchell, I wrote that down, averaging 25, 5, and 4, 40% from 3 on 9 attempts, which is interesting because I never considered Donovan Mitchell, especially coming into the league and his first couple years in Utah, as a shooter. But 40% from 3 on 9 attempts is pretty freaking good. So that's superstar level some stuff right there. He's led the Cavs to a 15-0 start. Now, a lot of reasons for that. Their health, Jared Allen, Evan Mobley playing well. We'll talk about that in a little bit because obviously we're going to be talking about the Cavs. I don't know. If you don't think the Cavs are a top 5 team, you're kidding. So, we'll talk about them later. But individually, Donovan Spida Mitchell has had some big games, notable big games that's gotten him into this 5 spot for me. 30 points in Milwaukee, and a walk-off, buzzer beater, however you want to call it. I think it was almost walk-off. I put AWO, almost walk-off, like 0.3 seconds left on the shot clock, on the clock. But walked away with the dub in Milwaukee after dropping 30. Had 35 against Boston at home. They beat Boston, one of the few teams to beat Boston. And the team only has 3 losses. I wrote this a couple days ago. They've since lost again. Who they lost to, I forgot. Was it the Heat? I think it was the Heat. So now they're 15-4. But basically, the way I've been explaining it to people are like, "Hey, what do you think about the Cavs?" And I'm like, honestly, think about they had a 15-0 run to start the season. So you effectively are playing 67 games where you can get a loss. So they can win 68, 69 games this year. It's not that crazy. I mean, you played 20-some games and you're, what are they right now, 18, 19 and 4, 20 and 4, something like that. Scale that. It's going to get crazy pretty soon. They might lose 10, 12 games. So what does that leave them with? 12 games is 70 wins. That's tough. That's crazy. So now I do math doesn't check out there, so I think that they'll win around they'll definitely win more than 65 games. It's going to be a good team. 65, 67 games. A lot of games. When they lose 15 games, it'd be crazy. So Donovan Mitchell, been very, very good. In terms of his like MVP chances, don't think it's there just because you're a first seed. we're seeing the same thing with Shea. You have a high seeding doesn't mean, especially at this point of the season, that you have a chance to win MVP. There are plenty of other guys who are outplaying them. But Mitchell's doing good. He's playing within his system. They're doing very, very well. Kenny Atkins is good. But don't act like we haven't seen this in Donovan Mitchell. And don't forget, Donovan Mitchell has maybe not high, but he has had playoff experience more so than a lot of the young guys in the league at the moment. Don't forget his Utah days, bro. He's had some big playoff games. Remember, first round in the bubble against the Denver Nuggets. Like him and Jamal Murray, 50 points back and forth for like the whole series, right? He's a leader. The team has bought in. They have overcome trade talks. Like everyone's trying to get rid of Evan Mobley. Everyone's trying to get Jarrett Allen or Darius Garland. And hey, let's move on. Does Donovan Mitchell even want to stay there? I think he just wants to go to New York. They weathered the storm, got a new coach, balling out right now. So shout out to Donovan Spider Mitchell for that. Number 5 on the list. Number 4 on the list, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Averaging 35, and 6. 32% from 3 on 6 attempts, so definitely not one of the best shooters in the league or one of the better ones. But we've led them to a number 1 record in the West, where I think that they will finish at that spot, that top spot. Not higher than the 4 spot for me, because I feel like he could be doing more. Talking about this with my dad and a couple other people, that Tatum and Shai are phenomenal players, and I'm not in, like, no way am I going to call them like products of their system. Their system's very good. The rosters are very well constructed. That's shout out to the organization. But Shai and Tatum are very, very good individual players. Now, are they on the same level as like a killer? I don't want to get into this killer mindset conversation necessarily, where we're talking about MJ and Kobe and stuff like that. But you look at guys like Giannis and Jokic and Steph, who can just turn it on. And I was even saying Luka did this last year, where he goes to the finals, and even though he ran out of gas, because that was the first time he's really slaughtered an entire conference to go to the finals, Luka crushed everybody. And Kyrie was there too. Kyrie more so killed the Clippers in the first round. Luka was later, where Luka was just torching every team in front of him, except for the Celtics, who ended up winning. I don't see Shai and Tatum having that. I don't want to talk about Tatum. I want to talk about Shai. But I don't see that from both players. So when I say I feel like he can be doing more, 30 points a game is phenomenal. And he's not even averaging like 15 free throws like everyone's saying. He's not a free throw merchant. He's only averaging, I think, either 8 or 6. 8 is kind of a lot, but when you have the ball as much in your hand as Shai does and you play at the rim, what happens? Giannis is averaging like 12. So we'll talk about that when we get to Giannis. But, yeah, I don't feel that they have at the moment that turn on, that get the freak out of the way, I'm going to go crazy. So we don't have a chance to really see that during the regular season. You might say the NBA Cup, but like really not, like that's not really a thing. So we'll have to wait to the playoffs. And Shai and Tatum are both young enough in their career and have done so well up to this point in their career, especially Tatum, that they get that time to show us that and mature. There are some big dogs in the league. I mean, LeBron's playing till he's 40 he's 3 weeks from today, I guess. 3 weeks from today? 20? Yeah. 3 weeks from today, he turned 40. KD and Steph are still around. Clippers fan, I got to mention Kawhi. He's older. James Harden's older. You know, there's more superstars in the league because people are playing older, and so it's a lot more cramped and tight. So that being said, number 3, Jason Tatum. He's been a great individual player, even though he's playing on a great system and great team like I've been talking about. 28, 9, and 6, with 37% from 3 on 11 attempts. So the one thing with Tatum, with that, like I said, he's not like a necessarily offensively like explosive player where it's just I can get bucket. It just seems like they're in takeover. I think that's the perfect thing. Like in 2K, you get hot, you get takeover like NBA Jam. Luka did that, where it was like I can get buckets from anywhere in the court. And it's not just like Tatum hitting a bunch of threes in the game and like, oh, he scores a bunch of points. I want to see it where like you're not missing from anywhere. I don't really see that from either of those guys. And especially not from Tatum last year in the playoff run, because he didn't win a Finals MVP and he was playing well, wasn't playing bad, but Jaylen Brown kind of had more of that. Didn't really have a lot of it, but it was more than Tatum. Tatum averaging 11 attempts from 3, which is crazy. I think that's top 3 in the league at the moment in terms of attempts. And he's only averaging 2.5 more points per game. He's averaging this almost the same amount of points, but 2.5 more threes than he shot last year. So there's something to be said about his efficiency there where, okay, you're shooting more threes, averaging not crazy numbers. Like if you're shooting 11 threes, potentially, if you get that efficiency up, you should well be over 30 points per game. So very interesting to see how that works. Out of the top players, I mean, this is a guy who has a phenomenal roster and a working system. Number 3 is a great spot. Do not get me wrong. I'm not trying to bash Jason Tatum. He's played well, like I said. Very successful career so far. But I cannot compare Jason Tatum just because him and Shea have they've been playing well. Their teams are in the top of their respective conferences. Top 1 or 2. I can't put them over these next 2 guys. So you probably know who these 2 are, and you might be wondering who's at 1 and 2. I'm going to cut the bull crap. Giannis is at number 2. 32, 12, and 7 is what he's averaging on 63% from 2 on 20 attempts per game. So he's making about 11, 12 buckets inside the three-point line a game. So he leads the league in dunks and leads the league in scoring. And I will talk about this more later in the pod. We got a lot to talk about. Like I said, I got 4 more categories after this. It's gonna be fun. I love doing this stuff. If you love this, let me know because I love doing this. I said Giannis, early preseason, I compared Giannis to a raging bull. I said he's gonna be pissed off. And they started bad, and the media was all on his back and yo, they're not playing good. They're not gonna be playing good. The Bucks are looking like a failure this year. And Giannis said, "Shut up." Grabbed his whole team by the back of the neck and dragged him back on the court. And I think they're above 500 at this point. I think the last I checked, they're either 10 and 11 or 11 and 10. I should have fact checked that. I wrote this all last week because I got finals this week. Anyways, I've been slightly right in that aspect of being Giannis is not happy, bro. Neither is Jokic. We'll talk about that in a sec. And he's showing. So Giannis is easily my wild card to go out of the East because playoffs is a long way away, but you do not want to play this dude. This dude is mad, angry, and he's playing well. I saw him hit a pull-up hezzy jumper. It like 2 steps in from the 3-point line. I was like, oh my gosh, he is locked in. If Giannis Antetokounmpo is doing a hezzy between the legs, mini little step back jumper, we're cooked, bro. So Giannis, dude, 32, 12, and 7, some big numbers. Like I said, dragged his team back. Do not mess with him. Celtics beware. A great system in Boston, but boy, do they shoot a lot of threes. You do not want a series where you just randomly, Eastern Conference Finals, second round, what have you. You don't play well for 2-3 games, and you miss a bunch of threes, and Giannis plays normally, and they win the game, and then Giannis has a chance to play well and capitalize and win a series. Do not want to be in that situation. Nobody in the league wants to be in this situation. This dude might be at the top of the list in terms of turn it on, shut everyone up, I'm going to go get a ring. Because he's done it before. Luka is right under that. Luka didn't capitalize. But Giannis, do not mess with this dude. By the way, he's averaging 32, 12, and 7, doing it with less minutes than all of the people I've mentioned so far, except for Donovan Mitchell. Very impressive. It's efficiency. It's being mad, I guess. It's all these things that are allowing him to do this point. And their team's finally playing well. Dame's stepping it back up. I think Chris Middleton's back or soon to be coming back. So, anyways, that leads us to our number 1 pick. Obviously, top 5 players. The number 1 player is Nikola Jokic. This dude is having a literal career season, averaging 30 points per game, 13 rebounds, and 10 assists. Never averaged a triple-double. I didn't believe that until I looked it up. I think last year when I was doing a video on him. Man's never averaged 10 assists in a game. I think he averaged 9.8, which I would be mad about because that basically comes down to your teammates making shots or not. Over the course of an 82-game season, you didn't get you lost 0.2. That's your homies missing shots. So we'll talk about the Nuggets selling their future in a little bit. Getting a little crazy. But Nikola Jokic, 30, 13, and 10 were 58% from 2 inside the arc on 16 attempts per game. So it's a stat career high across the board. Every statistical category for Nikola Jokic this year is increased. Now, this is where we're talking about this little thin line again, where it's the 20 games. But dog, we are going to have some fun conversations if this man wins a 4th MVP. Back that up. We're going to have some fun conversations about him winning a 4th MVP if he can average a triple-double. Because Westbrook's done that before, sure. Oscar Roberts has done it before. But this man is 7 feet tall. and his team is crumbling before his eyes, and he is dragging them like Giannis. That's a great player. You can do this, and it's slightly contributing to winning. Golly, bro. So I thought this team was going to be absolute dog water. He's proving me wrong. I don't even feel bad about it at this point. I'm just like, you know what? I was wrong. They're still sub 500, I believe, barely, like the Bucks are kind of, or they're barely above. They're right in that line of mediocrity. He has willed them to that point of mediocrity, despite Aaron Gordon being hurt and Jamal Murray being kind of being okay. But if he keeps things up, things are going to get wild, and the Nuggets need to step up around him. He had a 56-point, 18 rebound game, and they lost to the Washington Wizards, bro. Crazy that happened. And then the next game, they played the Hawks. They beat them by a ton. And he had 48 and 16, I believe. So, Jokic is not a scorer. But notice how he has like no assists. He's not getting triple doubles because the guys on his team are not making buckets. Jokic is always passing. His teammates are selling. It's crazy. So, that's my top 5 players. Excuse me. Crazy situation in Denver. The front office is selling. I saw a video from Kenny Beecham, and he talking about they played the blame game where he drew a circle and he was like, how much blame is on whatever. Dude, 50% of that blame from Kenny Beecham for the Nuggets was on their front office. They have sold the bag 100%. You got Nikola Jokic, who's like, if we're talking about this dude winning a 4th MVP, get this dude some teammates, bro. Stop playing Julian Strawther and Peyton Watson. Like, great players. This is not the time to play young guys. I agree with Michael Malone. Why the freak would we play a bunch of 20-year-olds when you have, I think he's 29 or 30, Jokic. When you got Jokic on the court every night balling out. Let KCP walk? Cool. Can we won a ring with KCP, but I guess that means nothing now? Like, come on, bro. It's getting ridiculous. I don't even like the Nuggets. I'm a Clippers fan, actively rooting against the Nuggets in the West past couple of years because they've been good. And I want the Clippers to be better than them, but that hasn't happened. And I am saying, get this man some help because I want to see this man succeed individually. Not individually, but his team shouldn't be the reason that he's not in MVP talks. Because I've seen people, namely on like, Gilbert Arenas, I guess Gilbert's Arena, I'm going to say that. On Gilbert's Arena, he was talking about, Jokic and Giannis can't be an MVP conversation because their teams, I think they're like the 8th or the 9th seed, and you've never seen someone. It's like, okay, I get that. That's where the 20 games a season comes in because it's like, he's playing well, and if he keeps it up, it's going to be good. But also, you got to, on the other side of the coin, if the team keeps playing this way and they're going to get the 8th or 9th seed, and that's how it ends up being, you're not going to win a 4th MVP. Crazy situation. So get this man some help. I kind of want to see the Nuggets win now because Jokic is balling. Moving on. Top 5 teams. Thanks for indulging my little TED talk right there, but shout out. I'm really enjoying doing the podcast. Top 5 teams. I'm going to try and make this a little bit faster than the last one. Orlando Magic, number 5, been very, very good. This was written before Franz Wagner's out with the same injury that Paolo Banchero was out with. Hopefully Paolo comes back soon, but Franz is out indefinitely, last I heard. So the Magic, before they went down, 2nd in blocks, 3rd in steals, 2nd in defensive rating, and 3rd in deflections. Just like to toss some stuff up for you guys. Paolo's out for most of the season thus far. Franz has been hooping, but Franz is now out. Supporting cast is very, very good. Goga Bitadze, I think I said it right, Bitadze. Jonathan Isaac, Jalen Suggs, KCP, Anthony Black, Jet Howard, Tristan Da Silva, Cole Anthony, question mark? I wrote a question mark to his name because they might trade him. I think they should. Playing good. He had a really nice block the other game. But when I wrote this, they were 3rd in the East. Paolo will come back, and I think they'll stay there. And I wrote in parentheses, unless Giannis and Dame come up. Their next 5 games, once again, I wrote this a little bit ago, was Bucks, Thunder, Heat twice, Celtics, and Knicks. So they've had a relatively easy schedule. Like you look at their schedule and you look at Houston's schedule, and you're like, okay, cool, you're in the top 3 in your respective conference, but you played Charlotte twice, you played Houston, or you played Washington twice, you played whoever twice, and like, come on, bro. So we'll have to see the Magic playing at Bucks, then they have a home stretch to play OKC, the Heat twice, Celtics, and Knicks. So if they come out of that and they're fine, especially now with Franz and Paolo out at the same time, we're going to have some conversations about this team. But right now, they're number 5. Number 4, team I just talked about, but don't get me wrong, they're so good. Their schedule has not been the best. However, They're first in rebounding, fifth in net rating, third in defensive rating, second in FBP. Oh, fast break points. Excuse me. And they're second in second chance points per game. And I just watched them last night play the Clippers. The amount of offensive rebounds they have is insane. So, fun fact, I found out Thiago Splitter is an assistant coach for the Houston Rockets. If you did not know that, join the club. I did not either until I saw it on their homepage, and I was like, that's crazy because I don't even think he played for the Houston Rockets. So, interesting. But Houston, great overall roster. They might be too deep, and maybe this should have been a take, one of my top 5 takes we got later on in the pod, but I have a theory and maybe a business decision for the Houston Rockets to trade Reed Sheppard for a bigger star, Reed Sheppard and company, whoever they want to throw in with that, or a star, kind of like the Clippers did with Shea, where it was like, we have, first of all, a first-round lottery draft pick guard from Kentucky, both situations, trade him for a star and hope for a better future. Except, maybe it'll go better than the Clippers because it won't be one of the worst trades in NBA history, like so very blatantly. But we were just watching I was watching the Rockets game last night play the Clippers. Like, Reed Sheppard didn't even get into like he was either the late third quarter or early fourth quarter. And I was like, they look fine. They don't need him. Like, I was like, is he injured? No, he's not playing. They don't need him. They don't need a guy like that. You got Amen Thompson, you got Fred VanVleet, and you got Jalen Green at the guards. That's enough guard play. That's enough. I think you got that. You can rock with it. You don't need another guard to come off, and you're kind of expecting like, oh, he was the third pick. We need to like give him some stuff. Like, no, I think you just move him, get some pieces, or I would say actually don't get some pieces, get a piece, and make a big push because you're number 2 in the West right now. You're playing well, and you got to. It's a win now mode. Honestly, it's if it's not win now at the moment, it's win in the next 5 years, which is a long time. But you got to get a Devin Booker. You got to get somebody else who is very good player to bring you above where you're currently at. And Reed Sheppard's not going to do that for him. So, but I do think if they can trade him, he can do that for them in a sense. Picking up what I'm putting down. But my big question is, can they win? We'll have to see. I'm kind of comparing them to the 2023 Kings, where it's like they got the 3rd seed, highest rated offense, whatever, very, very good. Losing the first round because Steph Curry balled out. So, can see that happening. Don't be surprised if Houston losing the first round because a superstar comes in. You don't want to play Luka. You don't want to play Shea. You don't want to play KD Book. You don't want to play, if Kawhi comes back, you don't want to play Kawhi. I wouldn't want to play LeBron AD. I wouldn't want to play Ant. I want to play Yoke. Like, that could be a thing. Houston Rockets, Denver Nuggets the first round, and they lose because they're playing Jokic. That's not. So I'm not. The stock is not bought in yet for the Houston Rockets. Got to wait a little bit. Not saying they're going to be bad. They're a great team. Great defenders. A lot of good upside there. I love Şengün, love Jalen Green. Love me some Dylan Brooks sometimes. Right. I love Amen Thompson. Oh my gosh, I love Amen Thompson. That guy's awesome. But they got the time for it. But now is not the time. Number 3, OKC Thunder. First in net rating, first in defensive rating, first in steals, third in blocks, first in deflections, first in loose balls recovered. Crazy defensive team, as you can see. Chet is back January 26th. Needs Shea to step up. Talked about that already. A lot of good supporting cast. They are a young team that does not care. They remind me of Houston Rockets. More so, Houston Rockets remind me of them. But yeah, they have a lot of great pieces, a lot of young players. Can they win? That was my next question. They were my pick to come out of the West, but the gap between them and the next best team is not where I like it to be in terms of play style. I'm not talking about record. I'm talking about like Chet's not there and Shea isn't really doing a whole ton. J-Dub's playing better, but not like, hey, our third, maybe second best player that is competing with me is out, and I'm going to step up and do some. They're just a very good team. I don't see them as like being unbeatable, if that makes sense. So that's where I'm at with the OKC Thunder. I do still have them coming out of the West just because they're that good. Hartenstein has been playing amazing. Russo's been like, I don't know. Thunder fans, let me know. Number 2, Boston Celtics. Third in points per game scored, second in net rating, third in offensive rating, and they're the defending champs, obviously. So I had to put that in there. They have the best lineup slash roster slash whatever in the league. When healthy, they look unbeatable. They got Porzingis, they got D. White, they got Drew Holiday. You know the pieces. You know how it rolls. JT and JB look amazing. The bench is getting a lot better. Peyton Pritchard has like multiple 20-point games this season come off the bench. Hauser's balling. Luke Cornett gets the minutes. I don't know his first name, but he put at Utah State. Last name is Queta, Queta. I think that's how you say his name. Al Horford's balling. Xavier Tillman get some minutes, bro. So like I said, live and die by the threes. Giannis series could be scary. They could still beat them 100% because they're the Celtics. They're the best team in the NBA. Going forward, even though they're number 2 right now, you talk about it. But if they can get more efficient, their defense will always be okay, but their offense is going to be where they lose a series. They will lose a series because they will not play well offensively. They're going to be fine defensively, but they need to step up. And I think Jaylen Brown and JT can step up even more for them to really reach that defending champion, like we're untouchable GOAT legacy status. That's what I want to see from them. They're still my pick to win the championship because, dog, they're so good. But you might be wondering, Jake, if they're so good and blah, 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 all this stuff, why are they number 2 and not number 1? Well, number 1, Cleveland Cavaliers. A team goes 15-0 between the first 20 games of the season. I'm just not going to give them the number 1 spot? No. They went 15-0 in the first quarter of the season. First in points per game scored, first in 3-point percentage, third in net rating, second in offensive rating. One of the great offensive teams of today. Started the season 15-0, so they got to be number 1, bro. They beat Boston, one of the very few teams to beat Boston this year. Boston beat them back. Everyone stepped up. The new coaching has looked phenomenal. We will stay tuned. It is a rock, paper, scissors fight, in my opinion, between the Cavs, the Celtics, and the Bucks. Bucks because of Giannis. Knicks look pretty good. They were there. I decided to pick the Orlando Magic over the Knicks because, I don't know, I just feel like the Magic are way better defensively, and their offense is picking up, and that's where they needed to. And Franz had an extension. We'll talk about that more later, and he actually stepped up. So shout out to both of them, even though they're both hurt, Paolo and Franz. But that's where I'm at with the Cavs right now, number 1. 15-0 first 20 games, dude. Come on. They got to go there. So, very, very good team. Moving on to the top 5 rookies. This was a very interesting thing. If you guys don't know, shotcreator.com is awesome. I love shotcreator.com. You can watch a bunch of different highlights of specifically players' points, assists, rebounds, whatever stat, right? So I sat here watching a bunch of the new rookies, and I'm just like, first of all, this whole draft class can shoot. It seems like everybody in this draft class can shoot threes on a very high clip. Very, very good. So, jumping right into it, number 5, Steph Castle. I'm going to talk less about their stats and more about what I've seen specifically. Steph Castle is poised, calm, dependable. I think he really defines this draft class. You're going to be looking up in 10 years, and this draft class is going to have guys that are playing on contenders across the league. Like, we've seen this. I mean, not every draft class has to have a bunch of guys that are like star picks for now. My main comparison was look at the 2010 Warriors. Iguodala, first round draft pick, right? Lottery. I believe he went lottery. Came off the bench, won Finals MVP. Like, he wasn't a star for the Warriors. He wasn't in a way, but he was not Steph Curry for that Warrior team. He was not the number 1 option. But Iguodala, first round draft pick, like, great role player, Finals MVP. Sean Livingston, same deal. I think he was like the fourth pick in the 2004 draft, something like that. And he was off the bench. Like, so Steph Castle is going to be one of the Steph Castle was drafted 4 as well. But he's going to be one of these guys on a team that's like, hey, maybe never be an all-star, but I will be on a winning team, a key piece to a winning team, maybe even a dynasty if he stays with Wemby. Like, you need guys like that. It's not just all like glitz and glamour and stars. You need those role players that come in, those D. White, the Drew Holiday. Right? I guess like JJ Redick called it on his podcast like the Alfreds, if you're familiar with that, right? You don't need Batman and Robin all the time. You need Alfred. It's a bunch of Alfreds in the class, but that's what's needed, bro. That's what wins games for teams, right? Not just players. So that's my number 5. I love Steph Castle. Number 4, number 1 draft pick, Zachary Richardson. He's been great so far. Looks really good for the number 1 pick. I wanted Alex Sarr to go number 1 because I was like, ooh, cool. Nice stretch big in Atlanta with Trae Young and like a and like a lob threat, and he plays great D. Didn't go there. Ricochet got picked first, and I was like, they're just gonna have another 3 and D shooter. Yeah, because this team is really good at the 3 and the D. Pause. So Trae Young hitting threes. Dyson Daniels playing some good defense. Zachary Ricochet doing both of them. Got a career high 33 points earlier this season. Hit like 9 threes, something like that. Crazy. So Zach Ricochet is looking very, very good. I wouldn't say. I mean, it's hard to go back and say, man, he can't be a number 1 pick. But golly, dude, this dude is looking like he deserved it at the very least. He's not bad. He's not a bust like some of these other guys. He's playing very, very well. Number 3, Jalen Wells. If you have not seen this kid, I do not blame you because he came out of nowhere, playing very well, been great out of nowhere. We'll see how his minutes go later on. Once again, this dude is a sniper. I want to see some more of like shot creation. He reminds me a little bit of Cam Thomas, what I think he can do. Like, give him the ball in 25 minutes and he can just score 30. Very kind of efficient shooter. We'll have to see if you give him the ball more in terms of shot creation and efficiency and all that fun stuff. But Jalen Wells, number 3. I was gonna put Jalen Wells number 3 or number 2, excuse me, but number 2 is Dalton Knecht, who I believe is it just because of like the Lakers, maybe, but dog playing on a veteran team as a rookie when you got passed up on because you were older. I mean, he's literally my age. I'm in college right now. 23 years old, and we're basically twins. It's kind of crazy. I look at it like that. Lakers is a big reason why he's at this spot. They're not contending, but dude, this guy can freaking shoot the basketball. 37 points against Utah. He's a little comfortable. He's athletic. All the things. Plays defense. He's still young. He's still one of the younger guys, but he's 23. He's a rookie, but bro, this dude is the real deal. So that's my number 2 rookie. Love watching Dalton Knecht. Jared McCain is my number 1. If you thought otherwise, don't know what you were thinking. He is the only hope for Philly at this point. Gonna have like a great career, I think, based off what I've seen so far. He is. I mean, Philly's gonna have a real one. Like they have a real one here. I know yesterday, Philly. I mean, they had PG, Joel, and Tyrese playing all at the same time. Tyrese had a triple double, but dude, Jared McCain is solid. I think because the Sixers team's been so trash, he's been the only ray of light and hope that there is. I mean, this dude's making YouTube videos at the same time. Crazy stuff. So, shout out Jared McCain, number 1 rookie. We are finally on the, we have 2 more. Golly, this is going to be long. I don't know why I did 5 different categories for top 5s. Top 5 takes. Number 5. Kind of alluded to this earlier in the podcast. Rockets losing the first round. They're young. They're good. They are the 2023 Kings in my eyes, but better. I'm just not ready for a 7-game series. I think the more I've watched basketball, the more I've put an emphasis on that 7-game series and how important it is. You have experience. You have to lose. Failure is an option, it gives you an option to learn and to grow. So take it. Try it harder this year, but you're not. I don't think the Rockets are doing much this year. That might come back to bite me in the butt, but based on what I've seen in history with good teams, good young teams who are very scrappy, playoffs are about superstar basketball, man. You need that guy to come in and clutch up and win a series. You got to win 4 games, homie. Like I said, Houston Rockets, they could get a high seed, but if that high seed gives you a matchup against Steph Curry, Nikola Jokic, KD and Book, Ant, Kyrie Luka, Kawhi, LeBron AD, even Ja, Wemby, maybe not Wemby. You get the point, though. All those other guys, they will probably play one of those guys or those duos in the first round and might not make it out. That's my prediction. Don't think it's that hot of a take. Just because I'm not saying that the Rockets are out, they're going to lose this year and then they're done. No, they're not going to be done. They will be back next year and the year after that and after that. But this year may not be the year. Number 4, Sixers also lose the first round. I almost went out of my mind and said the Sixers were going to miss the playoffs, but I looked at the East and I was like, golly, this crap sucks. Like, this is some stuff from a butt. Like, it's bad. It smells, dude. For real, they'll make the playoffs. They won't win in the first round because they'll make the playoffs. Maybe they make the play-in. Then they'll play either like the Knicks or the Celtics or the Cavs or the Magic. Hopefully at that point have their 2 guys back. And the Sixers just don't look like they have it together. They win some games, but the first round, bro, one of those three guys gets hurt, and two of them are very injury prone, and you're not going to get it. I've been a PG fan and a Clippers fan the past 5 years. Followed them. Cool. PG got us the Western Conference Finals without Kawhi, but, I mean, he wasn't playing that out of his mind. Crazy. But that's my pick, is my fourth hottest take, quote-unquote. Sixers losing the first round. Number 3, Jokic will win a 4th MVP. So, already talked about this before. This is kind of why I talked about those things before, is because if you pay attention, you can probably understand what all of my takes are, except for the last one. Number 1 is definitely suited to me, but you'll be excited. Excuse me. Jokic, 4th MVP, playing out of his mind. If the team, here's the thing. If Jokic is playing like this because the team sucks, and if the team continues to suck, Jokic will probably keep playing like this. That's what you do when you're a good player and you try and pick up some slack for your team. So, can he sustain this? Probably. Maybe. Who knows? We'll have to see. But that's why we have takes and bets and other things like that, and opinions. My opinion is he will do it, and let's see. I mean, I'm just going to chuck it out there because probably a high probability that he could do it and he can do it. So, Jokic, 4th MVP, going to have some very interesting conversations because only, I believe, 5 other players have won more than 4 MVPs in NBA history out of the 4,000 to 5,000 players in league history. I think it's him. It will be him, Michael, LeBron, Wilt, Bill Russell, and Kareem. I think those are the only guys who won 4 MVPs or more. Kareem's leading with 6, and Jordan has 5. So that's where we're at. I think Russell has 5 as well. So Jokic for the MVP. Number 2, Bucks, Eastern Conference Finals. I think this is a no-brainer. I think they match up with maybe Cleveland would be a rough series, but if they match up with like York or Orlando in the second round, and then they win and they go to Eastern Conference Finals, not that far-fetched to me. I think that they can make it, but if they play a Boston or they play a Cleveland in the second round, that's where things get a little dicey for everybody. And then it gets weird for, if Boston has that matchup, I feel less confident about Boston doing the same thing. So it's a 50-50. It's on both sides. But that's my pick, is I think they'll at least go to the Eastern Conference Finals because Giannis is on a tear. I don't see it happening unless he has a tear in his leg or something. Knock on wood, do not want that to happen, but dog, that's my pick. Number 2, I think I've talked enough about it. Y'all know. Number 1, here is the hottest take, and this is where it gets fun because it gets me feeling good, some butterflies in me, bro. Clippers Western Conference Finals. Talk about it. It's about that time. We're 14-11. We're above 500 without Kawhi Leonard at all, and without Paul George. Kawhi Leonard comes back. We win games. Got a high seed. Kawhi is actually healthy in the playoffs for the first time in 5 years. And what happens? What happens? So, Kawhi needs to be there, but the rest of the squad is nasty. James Harden, Zubac playing very, very good. Terrence Mann moved to the bench for K. Dunn, the Dungeon, starting. Derek Jones Jr. starting, very good. He probably get moved to the bench or moved to the 4. We move Norm Powell to the bench, maybe. Norm Powell shooting 50% from 3, over 50% from 3 this season, averaging more points than Paul George did in his tenure with the Clippers. Now, only 20 games, but very, very good. The record does not lie. We've played some good teams. We've lost to some good teams. I think all of our losses have come from very, very good teams. We've also beat Golden State twice, Denver twice, lost to Houston 3 times. I don't want to talk about it. You get the point. Kawhi comes back. Yeah, that's a team. Okay that we've lost to Houston 3 times. We've lost to OKC. We've lost to whatever. These other teams. Phoenix twice. That sucked. Opening night. That was not fun. That's a team without Kawhi Leonard. They had all their guys, bro. They have all of their guys. We beat the Nuggets with Jokic twice. We beat the Warriors with Steph twice. Kawhi comes back, and it's only going to get better than that. Nico Batum has been great. Mo Bamba's been out. KPJ, Kevin Porter Jr. has been very interesting, but James Harden brings it back. So if we got Kawhi, an actual centralized system outside of James Harden, because he has been really good. His efficiency has been but we're winning games. We're above 500 with the team that was expected to be literally the 13th seed. I said, give that crowd to the Pelicans and stick it. And look what's happening right now. Clippers, I think they're a top 6 seed in the West, above the Lakers, the Suns, the Warriors, the Nuggets, all these other teams that were supposed to make the finals, or the playoffs, excuse me. And we're here. So, Clippers Western Conference Finals. Kawhi comes back, is healthy at the right time, and we win. So, hopefully they go to the finals. That would be insane. You would not hear me shut up about it. Moving on to the top 5 surprises. Man, number 5, LA Clippers. Like I just talked about in the top 5 takes. Clippers, like, no Kawhi, and you're 14-11. Now, is it my favorite team? Yeah. Did I know this was going to happen? Yes, I did know, because I watched the Clippers, and I had this guy in my comments, this sorry dude, 3 months ago, when I said, watch out for Nico Batum, Terrence Mann, and Amir Coffey. And he said, I'm crying for your team. Or he said something like, I'm sorry if you think Amir Coffey's an actual NBA player. And I was like, there have been games where Amir Coffey has like 20 points in the second half because he's hitting threes. This dude does not miss. Comes off the bench. Clippers squad is very good. Top 5 defense in the NBA. Shout out Jeff Van Gundy. Shout out Ty Lue. Shout out James Harden. Shout out Zoo. Shout out the whole team, bro. I knew this was going to happen, but I didn't think we were going to be this good. We are 14-11. We are 3 games above 500 in the Western Conference, dude. So, Kawhi comes back. My take on that, you already know. Next surprise, Franz Wagner. I knew he could have this kind of season, but shout out. I mean, he's injured now, so recover. Hopefully he can come back. I know it said indefinitely, but hopefully he can come back before. But when do you see a guy get the contract that he got for, I think it was $229 million for 5 years, and he comes out and balls out? Most of those guys get that bag, they get the check, and they're like, yeah, that's cool. And then they're chilling. He actually got better off of his rookie extension deal. Crazy. That doesn't happen very often. So shout out Franz Wagner, man. Jared McCain, number 3 surprise. I knew he was going to be cool. I've been watching him since high school-ish, on That Ball Is Life and all that stuff, the slam, and Jared McCain playing a Centennial, go play at Duke, paint his nails is kind of crazy, but TikTok, all that stuff. He's a bucket, dude. He's a baller. I like watching Jared McCain. He's been a very big surprise, so much so that I put him at my number 1 rookie of the year race. I thought it was going to be guys like Zach Edey. I thought it was going to be guys like Steph Castle. I thought Ricochet was going to be in there. He is. He's in there for me. For me, he is. But it's guys like Jalen Wells, Jared McCain, Dalton Connect. 2 of those guys are out of the lottery, and the other guy is out of the lottery in the second round. So, drafting's hard, man. Drafting's very hard. Jared McCain, shout out Philly. Keeping them kind of afloat while some of their guys are in and out. I know all 3 of their guys played last night, but in and out regardless. Jared McCain, very big surprise. The second surprise was the start Golden State had. Now, they have cooled off since then, but, bro, when you hear about this team, first of all, they lost Klay Thompson. Draymond Green is apparently like a psychopath or something. Like, everyone's like, he's crazy, he's mentally, whatever. Steph comes out. He's been playing good. Don't get me wrong. But Steph Curry's not playing more than 30 minutes a game because they have a 13-man roster. Like, when does that happen? And they were winning games. They were like right up there with OKC for a little bit. They have dropped down a little bit. They've lost some games. But I dare I say, we had an iconic moment the other night with Draymond Green crossing up Rudy Gobert and Steph setting a pick for Draymond Green to go 2018 Braun and punch that sucker in the rim on a 4-time DPOY, man. And his like arch nemesis, dude, the guy he put in a headlock about a year ago. Gosh dang, bro. So the Warriors start has been very interesting to watch. Buddy Hield's been cool. He's on my fantasy, so shout out. But Steve Kerr, I think Terry Stotts is there. And who else is? There's one more guy on that roster, on the coaching staff, excuse me. I can't think of who it was, but shout out them. I know what they've done. Front office has been very, very good. Now, here's my number 1 surprise. And some of you guys have been like, what? Like, that's kind of interesting. It could have been Cavs going 15-0, but once I started watching it, it wasn't really that much of a surprise. I am still surprised to this point of my number 1 surprise, which is Karl Anthony Towns playing good. He's been playing good. And the Knicks have been doing a lot better. It's a lot better than I thought it was going to be. That's basically why it's my number one. Because I thought the Cavs were going to be good. They go 15-0. It's like, that's a pretty good start. That's actually like a historically good start. Good job. Did it like necessarily surprise me? No. Did it knock my socks off? No. But Cat, wow. He looks aggressive. He looks rejuvenated. He looks like an actual star. Get him the ball, and he will get you 30 and 15 with like 5 threes in there. And they're going to win some games. He's looking really, really good. So Cat is my number one surprise thus far. That rounds out podcast for this week. Sorry it wasn't up on Saturday. I already talked about it. I was sick or something. But if you're watching this on YouTube, shout out as well. What's going on? Hopefully leave a like. I'm going to cut this up and edit it for this week. I'm trying to get the first one up today. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Because it's quarter season review week, bro. It's a celebration. It's a dang holiday up here. So hopefully y'all liked it. I love doing this kind of stuff. Podcast coming out on Saturday. Don't know what it's going to be about. I didn't stream yesterday. I should have sent out an announcement. I didn't stream Monday because I got finals and stuff. Or this morning's Monday. Duh. I didn't stream this morning. I will be streaming Wednesday and Friday, I believe, up to this point. And I will have some fun little segments I want to do for y'all. So appreciate the love, y'all. Having a good time out here. This is a longer podcast, 46-ish minutes. So that's all I got for today. Check out the YouTube. Check out podcasts if you are not caught up. Talk about basketball every single week, 3 times a week, in the morning, 7 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, 6 a.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Eastern, Monday, Wednesday, Friday on YouTube on the Warm Up Basketball channel. That's all I got for today, bro. We are out.